Almost 40% of fresh vegetables in American homes end up in the trash. That's not just waste, it's money straight out of your pocket. And here's the part no one talks about. It might not be your fault. Because the real problem could be the store you're buying from. Some grocery chains are quietly selling veggies that are already halfway to spoiled, and you don't even know it until it's too late. In this video, we're counting down 7 stores where you should never buy produce. And number 1, it's shocking. You've probably bought from them this week. Trader Joe's. You walk into Trader Joe's, the vibe is charming, almost addictive. It feels like a curated little treasure hunt with artisanal granola and the friendliest staff in retail. But there's one aisle that keeps betraying that cozy image. The produce section. See, while everything else feels thoughtfully selected, the vegetables? Not so much. It's like they're the one act in the show that didn't rehearse. You grab a bag of greens, imagine healthy lunches, and feel good about your choice. But by midweek, that dream is rotting in a crisper drawer, literally. Suddenly, that $4.99 salad mix feels like a punch in the gut. And here's the kicker. It's not just bad luck. It's baked into the packaging. Trader Joe's uses sealed bags that look convenient but actually work against you. They trap moisture, create a humid microclimate, and speed up decay. Your produce isn't aging naturally. It's suffocating. One Reddit user posted side-by-side photos. Spinach fresh on Sunday, black and slimy by Tuesday. This isn't about picky shoppers or one-off flukes. It's a pattern. And what's worse, people trust this brand. That trust makes the disappointment sting more. It's betrayal in a brown paper bag. Let me ask you this. How many times has your week been derailed by spoiled produce? You plan your meals, your grocery list, your budget, and then your so-called fresh food becomes waste. Trader Joe's isn't cheap junk. It feels premium. But when half of what you buy turns before Thursday, is it really a deal? If you're throwing out vegetables twice a week, you're not saving. You're silently bleeding cash. And emotionally, that adds up. Because nobody likes feeling fooled, especially by a store that promises better. Stick with me. This list only gets worse. Costco. Costco feels like the jackpot for anyone trying to beat inflation. Towering pallets of produce, giant bags of greens, prices that almost dare you to say no. And that's exactly where the trap is. Boom. Because while your wallet might smile at checkout, your fridge starts the countdown. Most families simply can't keep up with that much volume. Unless you've got a house full of athletes or run a juice bar from your kitchen, half of that produce is headed straight for the trash, and what starts as a good deal turns into a silent loss, one bag of spinach at a time. And somehow, you're left feeling like you failed. But it wasn't you. It was a system built for overflow, not reality. There's this unspoken pressure when shopping in bulk. This idea that you're doing the smart thing. You feel responsible, prepared, like you're beating the system. But by day 3, the only thing beating you is the smell coming from the bottom drawer. That Ohio shopper who lost half her spinach, she's not the exception, she's the rule. And every time we toss out spoiled greens, we're not just losing money. We're losing momentum. It makes cooking feel frustrating. Planning meals feel pointless. It wears you down in tiny, invisible ways, all while Costco quietly counts the win. So here's the million-dollar question. Are you actually saving if half of what you buy dies before it hits your plate? Costco banks on that question not being asked. Because their value illusion only works if you don't do the math. You leave feeling like a savvy shopper, only to spend the weekend tossing yellowing veggies into the bin. Freshness doesn't scale, and the bigger the bag, the faster the fall. If you've ever felt that sting, hit the like button and subscribe to Frugal Daily. This is the kind of truth most stores hope you never hear. And trust me, what comes next might change how you shop forever. 5. Aldi. Aldi feels like the holy grail for budget-conscious families. Clean aisles, no frills, and shockingly low prices that make you feel like you've outsmarted the system. But when it comes to produce, the gamble gets real. You reach for that clamshell of berries, imagining them on pancakes or packed in lunchboxes. But by morning, it's a science experiment. Fuzzy, sour, and unusable. That dad story? Far too familiar. It's the pain of trying to feed your kids healthy without draining your bank account, and still getting burned. At Aldi, the price tag wins, but the fridge often loses. The deeper problem is predictability. You can't plan meals around a dice roll. One week your avocados are perfect, the next they're black inside by the time you cut them. It's not just frustrating, it's exhausting. Aldi's produce section turns smart shoppers into skeptics. That feeling when you open a drawer, find wilted greens, and realize dinner plans just changed? It chips away at your trust. And over time, that trust erodes your willingness to try again. A deal isn't a deal if it costs you peace of mind. And when food spoils overnight, so does your confidence in the store. Here's the question no one's asking. What's the real cost of throwing away $2 strawberries twice a month? It's not just money, it's disappointment. It's wasting food in a world where waste already feels wrong. Aldi makes you feel like a genius at checkout, then quietly steals that win by Friday. And let's be clear, no one shops there to throw food away. You go to stretch your dollar, not shrink your options. So if this hits close to home, stick around. Because the next store on our list might seem like a bargain, but hides a problem you can actually see before you even buy. Save a Lot. Save a Lot wears the mask of a budget hero: low prices, simple layout, and the promise of getting more with less. For families counting every dollar, it feels like a secret weapon. But step into the produce section, and that promise starts to crack. The lighting's dim, the options are sparse, and the vibe? More emergency backup than fresh selection. That woman's joke about the carrots wasn't just funny, it was spot on. You know that look? Rubbery skin, limp tops, veggies that seem like they've been through a rough week. When produce looks tired before it even hits your cart, what chance does it have in your kitchen? The real danger here is silent. When vegetables look okay but aren't properly stored, the clock starts ticking the moment you grab them. Save a Lot often lacks proper refrigeration or turnover, which means your produce is aging on the shelf. And what's worse, most shoppers don't realize it until it's too late. You feel good about the price, load up your bag, and then 3 days later it's all brown, soft, or worse, smelling funky. It's not just frustrating, it's discouraging. You start wondering if healthy eating is even possible on a budget. And that's exactly the trap. Because here's the hard truth. A cheap vegetable that spoils fast is more expensive than one that lasts. It's the illusion of savings. Save a Lot isn't doing you a favor if half your groceries don't make it to the weekend. And deep down, you know it. You've tossed that bag of soggy celery or those slimy peppers before. It's waste disguised as value. So here's your mental note. If the produce looks exhausted on the shelf, imagine what it'll be like after a day in your kitchen. And keep watching, because the next store might surprise you. Especially if you think higher prices guarantee higher quality. Safeway Albertsons. This is where the frustration kicks in hard. Stores like Safeway and Albertsons aren't discount chains. They charge a premium, and they know it. When you walk in, you're not just shopping. You're investing in the idea of quality. You expect crisp apples, vibrant greens, and produce that actually lasts past mid-week. But what you often get? The exact opposite. Tomatoes that feel like they've been dropped one too many times. Lettuce that starts to brown before dinner. And fruit that bruises just from looking at it. You don't expect that from a premium store. And yet, here we are. That quote from the former produce manager says everything. We leave it out hoping someone buys it before it turns. That's not strategy, that's desperation. And you're the one paying for it. When stores prioritize appearance over freshness, they're gambling with your money and your meals. Think about it. Why are you paying Whole Foods prices for flea market quality? When the sticker says organic, but the apple's already soft, you're not buying nutrition. You're buying disappointment. And over time, that erodes trust. Because once you get burned, it's hard to believe the label ever again. This is where smart shoppers start doing something powerful. They speak with their receipts. Every time you put bruised produce back on the shelf or choose not to shop there again, you're sending a message. Because if you're paying $5 for a head of lettuce, it better not go limp by Wednesday. This isn't just about frustration, it's about fairness. You work too hard for your money to waste it on vegetables that are halfway to compost before they leave the store. And guess what? We're not done yet. The next store? It's even bigger, and the complaints are even louder. Stick with me. Kroger, King Soopers, Fry's, etc. Now we're in serious territory. Because this isn't just about wasting money, it's about food safety. When you walk into a store and the first thing you notice is the smell of rot wafting from the produce aisle, that's not just unpleasant, it's a red flag. Kroger and its family of stores, King Soopers, Fry's, Ralph's, are being called out by shoppers nationwide for the same horrifying issue. Spoiled food sitting right on the shelves. Slimy greens, moldy mushrooms, onions that smell like they've been forgotten in a hot car. And they're not hiding it well. It's in plain sight and worse, right under your nose. The problem? Poor rotation. It's one of the most basic rules in grocery. First in, first out. But employees themselves admit that at many Kroger locations, it just doesn't happen. Whether it's understaffing or bad management, the result is the same. Old vegetables pushed to the front, hoping someone in a rush grabs them. And by the time they hit your fridge, they're already decaying. This isn't just negligence, it's manipulation. You assume what you're buying is fresh because that's the entire point of the produce section. But what you're really buying? Decay dressed up in fluorescent lighting. And here's the scary part. This isn't rare. It's routine. When enough customers across the country say the same thing, you know it's not a fluke. We're talking about a systemic problem at one of the largest grocery chains in America. And if they're cutting corners on something as basic and visible as vegetables, what's happening in the back rooms? In the storage areas? The risk isn't just spoiled food. It's bacteria. It's illness. And most of all, it's a breakdown in trust. Stay with me, because the number one offender is coming up next, and what's happening there makes this look almost harmless. 1. Walmart. And this is it. The top of the list, and not in a good way. Walmart, America's most visited grocery store, earns the number one spot for all the wrong reasons. You walk in thinking you're getting a deal. You leave with a bag full of false promises. The produce aisle looks fine at a glance, but behind the neat stacks and cool lighting is a cycle of inconsistency. One week the romaine seems crisp, the next it's limp by lunchtime. And what's worse, you don't know which version you're getting until it's too late. Shoppers across the country say it loud and clear, "It goes bad before I can even use it." That's not just annoying, it's infuriating. Inside sources, Walmart employees themselves, admit what customers have long suspected. Produce simply isn't a priority. Their systems prioritize price tags over product care. Refrigeration? Spotty. Rotation? Rarely followed. Oversight? Almost non-existent. The focus is speed, volume, and sales, not freshness, safety, or satisfaction. And who ends up paying for that? You do. Not just at checkout, but again 2 days later when you're scraping brown spinach into the trash. The so-called savings? Gone. The meal you planned? Ruined. And the trust? Completely broken. Think about how many times this has happened to you. You planned a salad, a stir-fry, a school lunch, and the veggies were already dead on arrival. That's not just a waste of money. It's a waste of time, energy, and effort. And no one has time to keep rebuying the same groceries because a billion-dollar retailer can't keep lettuce cold. This isn't just frustrating. It's disrespectful to the shopper. It tells you freshness is optional, as long as the price tag looks good. And if that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And unfortunately, it's happening more often than most people realize. Look, this was never just about saving a few bucks. It's about protecting your time, your meals, and your peace of mind. Because cheap vegetables that spoil in days aren't a bargain, they're a loss in disguise. Every wilted salad or slimy pepper chips away at your confidence in smart shopping. You're not just tossing food, you're tossing the plan you had for your family. And that matters. So when we say spend smarter, we mean it literally. Know where to shop and where to skip. Now, we want to hear from you. Which store's produce has let you down the most? Was it a bag of berries gone fuzzy in 24 hours? Or a head of lettuce that never made it to dinner? Drop your story in the comments. We read every single one. Because this channel isn't just a voice, it's a community. A place where smart shoppers come to compare notes and avoid getting burned. Let's make the grocery game fair again together. Your tip might help someone else skip a costly mistake. And if you found value here, do yourself a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now. At Frugal Daily, we break down the tricks, traps, and truths of everyday shopping. No fluff, just facts that help you stretch your dollar further without sacrificing quality. And if you shop at Aldi, or even if you've just thought about it, our next video is a must-watch. It's called 10 Hidden Aldi Deals Employees Say You Should Never Miss. Trust me, number 7 will change the way you shop. Tap in and join thousands of smart shoppers already ahead of the game.